What's a happening, fellow nerds? This is John, nerding out with cards. And today what I want to do is I want to show off a couple pickups or mail day, whatever you want to call it, from a couple other YouTubers. And so the first one I'm going to show is the marker doodle of Roberto Clemente from Skaght. I'm sure you all have seen this, and I was lucky enough to get one. But I think this will pair really, really good with the last card he released of Roberto Clemente from the painting they did. And I think the two will pair together nicely with my Cardinals Roberto Clemente award recipient collection. So, I had to pick this up. And it's really cool because it's of him fielding. And I just dig that. So, now, big thing is, so this is going to be more of like a product review. I want to show it more in depth than what you might have seen over the course of the last year in other videos. So with that, the Drew, a Vintage Legacy, I'm sure you all know who he is. A little over a year ago, I believe, what he decided to do was to take a skill set that he has, which is woodworking. If you've seen any of his videos, like he made this amazing display for his 54 Red Heart collection. But like I said, more to the point was a little over a year ago, he was targeting a card. And so what he did was he took his skill set with woodworking and made all these card stands to which he was selling off to fund his hobby, right? To this gold card that he was seeking. And at the time, I wasn't creating videos or anything like that. I was like, oh man, it looks really cool. But I never picked any up. And it was one of those things too, where it's like, well, he ended up getting the card, which congratulations to him. And it was, well, did it kind of pass me by? And it's like, oh, well, I mean, it is what it is. And of course, over the last year, you see all these videos and, you see fellow content creators, they're showing their pickups and everything, and they're always putting their cards in these stands. But it was recently, I forget how recent, maybe a couple weeks, 2.5 weeks ago, Dan's Vintage PC was talking about how he had just ordered some. And so I was just like, oh, well, shoot. And he was just like, yeah, just go to Drew's channel and he's got his email available and, reach out to him. So that's what I ended up doing. Really quick, Drew reached back to me, said that he didn't have any available at that moment, but he had some in the works and that he would let me know when they were available. So I was like, all right, cool. And not too long after, he's like, okay, I got some available. And they were 4 for $45. That includes shipping. And hopefully I do this review justice, this product justice, but so you get 4 of them for $45 shipped. And anything about woodworking, wood products and whatnot, I mean, they get expensive for a reason. The time, the wood, the tools, they ain't cheap. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to show one here. And I don't have a measuring tape, so I don't have the dimensions, but it doesn't really matter, as you will see here soon. But yeah, it's quite basic, right? It's just a slot that you put your card in and it displays. So I just want to give a little close up. You see the grains. You use 2 different kinds of wood, so you got that two-tone effect going on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause this and I'm going to turn around. And I'm going to kind of show how the different slabs and the card holders and stuff like that kind of fit into it. How they look, because I know you've seen them in other videos, but it's more or less, hey, here the stands are really cool, and then card. And I'm just going to talk about the stand more so than the cards that are going to go into it. So anyway, I'm going to turn this around and be right back. Alrighty, y'all. So here you can see I have 4 of the card stands because that's how many I ordered from Drew. And I'm just gonna start, just kind of throwing some cards in there to see how that way you can see how they kind of lay out, how they sit, and then also give like recommendations on how you can adjust it, which you might have already seen in other ones. But anyway, so the first is, a lot of people when they see these card stands, especially with this gap here, you're thinking slabs, right? So I'm going to start off with, there's the obvious, the PSA, and you can kind of see there's some wiggle room, but stands perfectly fine, right? And then of course I had to put this card in there for an SGC example with Drew being a 54 Red Heart super fan. But you see the SGC case is a little bit thicker, so there's less wiggle room there. Stands up a little bit more vertical. And then of course there's like the super thick BGS, the Beckett, and this fits in there great. It's very vertical with this one. Now, I don't have any examples of slabs from other companies, but what I do have is some like oversized ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one right here. Let's scoot these back a little bit. But you think of like oversized slabs, how are they gonna fit in there? And this one, especially because of the card sleeve, kind of wants to just fall. You see there? I'm not gonna let it fall, but it's just kind of what it wants to do. Now, what about horizontally? It fits in there pretty good. This is my autograph picture of Ken Boyer. But again, there's a hack to that. Let's say you have an extra top loader or something. You put that top loader behind there and then bam, it just wants to rock and roll, right? Same thing with the vertical one. Put that top loader back there. It was one to play nice earlier. that sleeve ain't helping, which honestly, if I was displaying this, I probably wouldn't leave it in a sleeve. But, there you go, right? So that's for some like oversized stuff. I know there's a lot of oversized collectors. Now let's say, okay, I talked about in that video where grading just like dominates. Well, what if you're not a graded card collector, right? Well, maybe, you have an amazing piece of artwork by Skaght, like this, and he sells it at a top loader. Again, it kind of wants to fall back, but you take like a magnetic, you put it back there, and then boom, perfect. Because that's the other thing is like there can't be like a one size fits all. So this this channel here has to be, pretty well accommodating to the different thicknesses of slabs, holders, top loaders, and what have you, right? But that's more of like an oversized thing. It's kind of taken the hobby by storm. You got these Mag Pros, and yeah, they come in different thicknesses, but that fits absolutely perfect. You think of like a one touch here. Perfect. Now the top loaders, like the Roberto Clemente from Skaght, I'd recommend putting another top loader behind it, but you can see that presents very nicely. And then now the, these card savers, it really depends. The horizontally, they want to play nice. But if you're going to do it vertically, you're going to need to put something behind it. But I don't know how many people are going to be using a card stand such as this for a card saver. But people might. My Ken Boyer collections predominantly in card savers, so you know, you never know, I might want to. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to, you know, show off these card stands, give my review. I think they're amazing. You know, if you have it within your budget to spend 45 bucks on 4 card stands, that, like I said, that includes shipping too. You know, and to ship it to me, it costs Drew, I don't know, like 11, 12 bucks or something. So I'm not sure what his profit margin is on these, but these are really cool. And like I said, you know, I want to bring back one card because it's like, you know, I definitely want to get more in the future. I'm going to move these out of the way. Definitely want to get more of these in the future, but let's say these are the only 4 I get. You know, like, what am I going to do? Do I dedicate these for like YouTube, card pickup reveals, or just card stands for YouTube videos? Or do I get like a bunch, and when I'm able to display a lot of my cards, you know, get a lot of these? But I tell you what, greatest card ever made, the 1979 Topps Ozzie Smith card, that looks phenomenal in this card stand. You know, and partly because the Padres uniforms, brown, was a primary color. And you got this wood here, this dark brown, especially on the top. But, you know, I think about, you know, this wood grain 1978 Family Fun Centers, along with the 79 Family Fun Centers. You know, the Hostess cards I have of Ozzie. I mean, these card stands are like perfect, right? You know, I love the cards. You know, like I said, I think this is the greatest card ever made, just my opinion. But these card stands are like a perfect fit as far as aesthetics, as far as, you know, the build quality. It's not just some random cheap plastic. It's like, I don't know, it feels like this card is deserving of something better. And these are far and away that something better. So anyway, I really appreciate you, Drew, for making these and then taking the time out to respond to my emails and sell me some, so that way I can be cool like a bunch of the other YouTubers and have your card stands in my videos. And once again, I also want to, you know, thank Skaght for the marker doodle Roberto Clemente card. Really cool stuff, as always, from him. Y'all know that I'm a huge fan of his. But I hope you all enjoyed this, I don't know, I guess you call it product review of Drew's stands. And I will link his channel down below. Again, if you're interested in these, go to his channel. You know, and he's got videos where he talks more about these, just, you know, in his woodworking stuff. But within his channel bio, he has an email. Just email him if you're interested and go from there. But I highly recommend picking these up to display your awesome cards in your collection. And I hope you all enjoyed this.